Last time on Square Roots, a young monster hunter on a desert planet meets two comedic robots, one robot and his friend, before being rescued from an attack by a mysterious older man and escaping his humdrum life on a starship. Man, where did they come up with these ideas?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. Classic RPG podcast. I am your host, John Brandon, and with me is the lovable Matthew Van Zandt.
I believe you meant to say hello. I believe you meant to say the only classic RPG podcast.
Well, I don't want to make that claim.
I do. We are the only classic RPG podcast.
And also joining us is the lovable. I already said lovable. Also joining us is the rambunctious. Infamous. The infamous Vanessa.
Check it out. I drive these brothers crazy. I do it on the daily. They treat me really nicely. They buy me all these ices. Dolce and Gabbana, Fendi and then Donna, Karen they be sharing, all their money got me wearing. Fly gear but I ain't asking, they say they love my assin. 7 jeans, true religion, I say no but they keep giving. So I keep on taking, and no I ain't taking. We can keep on dating, I keep on demonstrating my love. My love, my love, my love. You love my lady lumps. My hump, my hump, my hump. My humps, they got you.
I was listening to Fergalicious on the way home from the gym today.
Hey, what a coincidence.
We're in a real Fergie mood.
It's 2000 and Ferg.
Don't be 2000 and late, Vanessa.
I would never be 2000 and late. I am so 2008. I am great. Fergie from head to toe.
You're 2000 and great.
Oh, thank you, John.
Yeah.
I'm 2000 and I hate this line of conversation. So what's going on, guys?
Well, I've just been up at the gym working on my fitness. Be my witness.
And I've been getting things from bros. And by bros, I mean the Patreons.
What did you get from the Patreons?
I got a PlayStation Vita. Thank you, Patreons.
What?
Now I can play lots of classic RPGs because I did not have a way to access that good classic PlayStation library.
All right.
And I feel like a real Ferg.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it is great.
Do the boys call you Stacy?
Well, I don't give my phone number out to listeners, so they can't do that.
That's probably good. See, that's where Fergie went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She just made herself too available.
Yeah. Although, is that really her fault?
I don't know.
Are we blaming the victim?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because who is a bigger victim than Fergie?
I can't think of anyone. And,
me neither.
What I'm gonna do with all the junk up in my trunk, by which I mean the drawer I put the Vita in, is I'm going to play some Vita games. It's great.
Yay! I recommend you get, what's a classic Vita game? Trails in the Sky.
Trails in the Sky. I don't know where that came from. I guess I was just really excited about my Vita, so I wanted to sing about it a little bit.
Okay, well that's great.
Yeah.
But let's probably do an official level up first.
Oh, okay.
And Vanessa, since you're so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, we haven't talked about what we do on this podcast.
Yeah, what
yet.
do we do here?
On this podcast, we play through a classic RPG, one chunker at a time, and this series of episodes, which is going to be like 7, is on Rebel Galaxy. A game none of us have played before.
That's because it's not a game that exists.
Yeah.
This is called Rogue Galaxy.
Oh, you're right. Rogue Galaxy. Sorry. I mixed those two up. Well, three up. There's Rogue Galaxy, Rogue Legacy, and Rebel Galaxy. And I will never get them correct.
And Rogue One.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Rebel Without a Cause.
Oh. Yes. What are you rebelling against? What do you got?
Classic RPGs.
All right. Sorry, I got the name of this game wrong. But we'll
No,
move
it's
on.
fine. Let's start the entire episode over.
Nope.
Hello, and welcome to Square Roots.
Vanessa.
I'm John Brandon.
How come every time you come around London Bridge, wanna go down like London?
How did you level up?
Swish. Swishy. Swishy. Chink. Swish wash.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That's the sound of ice skates skating across the ice.
And racism.
Oh, is it?
I heard someone yell that particular word at people in a parking lot
No.
just the other day.
That's
Because
not what I meant at all.
is very classy.
I meant like a shink, you know? Like oh. Well, I watched 4.5 hours of anime in a movie theater.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems like it seems like a lot of anime.
It was a lot of anime. It was an anime that I had never seen before because, frankly, I don't watch a lot of anime. I have nothing against it. It's just not my thing. But I do have friends. And I have a friend who wanted to watch the Yuri on Ice Fathom Event Anime Festival. And by festival, I just mean the whole show. All 4.5 hours of it on the big screen.
It's a lot of show.
It was a lot of show. It was good. I liked the show.
How does your butt feel?
Well, it feels good because I have a lot of junk up in that trunk that I was able to cushion myself with.
Oh, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Can we ask the butt?
What are you going to do with all that junk?
Oh, I'm gonna get you drunk.
No, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I had nachos with that fake cheese stuff, and I had a packet of red vines, and I had some curly fries, and I had 2 large bottles of water. And that was my movie theater experience, and I had my eyes assaulted. I mean, illuminated with 4.5 hours of anime.
So how was Yuri on Ice?
Yeah, that show's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, let's see. I would give it a 10 out of 10 on the ice skating scale. It's a lot about ice skating, and I like figure skating, so I didn't mind that. They really got into, the moves and the difficulty and the point scoring system and things like that, so that was good. I'd give it a 7 out of 10 on the art scale. It was basically, a sort of typical looking anime. They had a few sequences that had more interesting kind of hand-drawn art where a character would go into a fantasy or something like that. So I enjoyed that. And they did the sort of realistic version versus the chibi version, depending on the character's mood.
Yeah.
That was good. I'd give it a 8 out of 10 on audience experience. It was full of anime fans, some of this particular show, and some who clearly had never seen the show before. So it was fun to see and experience their reactions because they were really into it. And I'd give it a 10 out of 10 on the homoeroticism scale. Because it is a love story.
Openly gay? It is?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It definitely is. Well, it's openly gay in the way that anything Japanese is openly anything, if that makes sense.
Right.
But
Nope.
It was interesting in that, were there, slow panning shots of naked anime butt glistening in the wet hot springs while the other male character stared agape. Yes, there were.
Wow.
Were there kisses between men? Yes, there were, but there was a arm sort of in the way. But what I liked most about it is that there was a scene where these two characters, the two main males, had decided to get matching rings as sort of a symbol of their relationship. And then they went out with a bunch of their friends and were sitting at this restaurant. And these people saw the matching rings, and there was like a moment of, huh? And then someone just shouted, my two friends just got married! Congratulations! And everyone was really happy for them in a really sincere and authentic way. So, it really created this world where orientation was not an issue. It just was what it was.
That sounds nice.
That was really nice to see. I liked the characters a lot. I had seen my friend's tank top with the characters on it before and had some preconceived notions about what they might be like. There's a sort of white-haired one who I thought would be the kind of classic stony kind of jerk guy, you know?
Right. And that's what I've only seen the first episode, and that's kind of how he came across in that episode.
But he was not that at all.
Okay.
He's really a lot more nuanced and enthusiastic and sweet. And so it was great. I liked it a lot. Yuri on Ice. I recommend it. Maybe not all at once, but do what you gotta do. I did. Yuri on Ice. Matt, how did you level up?
Oh, I sure did. I leveled up my...
farts.
No. Jeez, John.
That's what it says on your list.
I leveled up. It's always said that, John. I leveled up my... It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia skills by binging the series again.
No.
Watching season 12 for the second time only. And I definitely had a good old time with that. That show has gone off the rails. It's pretty entertaining. And I had forgotten a lot of little touches, like how the gang blew up Dennis's car with a rocket launcher at the end of last season.
Is Dennis Danny DeVito?
No, that's Frank. John, I thought you watched It's Always Sunny.
No, I've seen Charlie. 10 minutes.
That's weird.
Who's the guy that like apparently lost like 50 pounds for a joke and became super ripped?
That's still Dennis. Even I know this, and I don't watch the show.
That's not Dennis at all. That is Mac, and he is played by Rob McElroy. I don't know how to say his last name. He is the creator of the show. He's also the one that, like, 3 seasons ago put on, like, 60 pounds just for a joke for the season.
Charlie
Day. You would recognize him from Pacific Rim 1 and 2.
I know who Charlie Day is. I thought his character name was Charlie. Is that Dennis?
No, that's Charlie.
I hate the show.
Yeah, no, definitely. I get how frustrating it can be when you can't remember the names of the characters of the show you've never watched.
I remember one of them. I remember Mick Poyle.
The McPoyles are delightful. Anyway,
I only remembered one. Apparently there's more than one.
It's a whole family. Yeah, that was my level up. I re-binged It's Always Sunny. If anybody has never watched that show, you're crazy. Watch that show. Not that it does not certainly have some problematic elements in its older seasons, because of course it does.
Problematic like it sucks.
Well, problematic.
That's a problem.
Problematic like Charlie is a straight up crazy stalker who is stalking the waitress character, and there are... yeah, alright, I'll say this. Here's the thing about It's Always Sunny. Those characters are scumbags. You are not supposed to like them. You don't like them. They're terrible people, which lets them get away with things like having 2 different episodes with characters in blackface.
No.
Because they're terrible people who would absolutely do something like that.
No.
And if you were filming your own homemade sequel to Lethal Weapon and you only had 2 white guys to work with, you might also have one of those people
No, I wouldn't.
It's really funny though, because that's the point of the episode is how fucking terrible this is. So, yeah, watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's terrible. No, it's not. It's delightful, but the characters are terrible, and I love it. And
I saw some TV shows too. I watched.
Well, it's not your turn to level up, is it, Vanessa?
Of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and it was great. And I watched the season premiere of Supernatural.
Ooh, how was that?
Please continue, Matt.
I will not.
I've seen every episode of Supernatural. I don't know why I keep watching it, but I do.
I've seen a lot of Supernatural because my ex-wife loved that show, and I hate that show. And I certainly don't have any mixed up feelings about my ex-wife and that show. No, not at all. But it's a terrible show, and I hope it gets fucking canceled.
It will never be canceled because its fans, it's difficult to be a casual fan of Supernatural because the people who identify themselves as Supernatural fans are Supernatural fans. You know? They're into it. Me, I watch it. It's fun. It's silly. Some of the actors are very, very good. Jim Beaver is back this season. He is a great actor. Mark Sheppard is gone. I miss him. He's a great actor. I don't mean by omission to imply that anyone else is not a great actor, but I've always had a soft spot for character actors. I like seeing them a lot. I like seeing the Vancouver theater actors that they cast in the show. I like it
Me too.
when silly supernatural things happen. I don't like it when they talk about their feelings, which they do every episode. But that's the part that the fans love, and I get it.
Yeah, it's got that same... It's like all the CW shows are the same. It's like action scene, comedy scene, drama scene, action scene.
Not Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, though. That show is bizarre.
That show is bizarre and unique and maybe the best portrayal of mental illness on television ever.
There's some stuff I really didn't like about last season of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but I think the stuff about her mental illness was really, really good. And the stuff about her friend oversharing it, I thought was interesting and kind of something shows aren't really talked about before without making her friend seem like a cliche.
Yeah.
Like her friend is trying to help, but maybe not in the greatest way for her.
Well, it's weird because they're all, it's a comedy, so they're heightened versions of real people. But there's a lot of truth in what they're doing, I think.
I also liked her fantasy about about what's-his-face being rescued by coyotes, and the joke that comes out at the end of that whole thing is one of the funniest things of last year.
That was fantastic.
Good
Supernatural
place.
is also fantastic. Watch Supernatural. I mean, why not? What else are you going to do?
You really don't have to do that. Don't listen to Vanessa. No, you don't.
Because the people who
watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. No. That's a good show.
Does It Always Sunny in Philadelphia have 10 fan conventions a year? I didn't think so. Clearly.
Is that supposed to be like an indicator of quality?
I don't know, but I've read about these Supernatural fan conventions, and I am very interested.
Did you go to one on one episode?
No, I don't go to one.
Didn't you already go to one?
No.
Who did we know that went to one?
Who do we know who went to one? We need to look into that because I can't go because I get very bad secondhand embarrassment. And so I cannot go because whenever I go to a live event and the Q&A portion starts, I have to leave the room to go to the bathroom.
Vanessa?
Yeah.
We should let Matthew finish his level up.
Why?
Well, because he was doing his thing.
Okay.
John, how did you level up?
Well, I'll go through this real fast. First of all, I finished a game that I got a code from Johnny Turbo to play.
I thought you were Johnny Turbo.
I am not Johnny Turbo. That is someone else. But he's also a real person, and he's using that as his brand for Johnny Turbo's Arcade, where he re-releases weird old arcade games. At least that's what he's been doing lately. And Nitro Ball is a weird old arcade game. It's kind of like a pinball style game, except it's also a shooter like Mercenaries. It reminds me a lot of Mercenaries, if you ever played that. The old game, Mercs, I should say, not Mercenaries. I don't know if you played Mercs. Anyway, so it's like a top-down Contra Merc-style shooter. And when you kill enemies, they turn into pinballs and roll around and hit targets. And there's lots of crazy pinball stuff going on. It's a bit like Smash TV. And there's, I think, 5 levels. One is football-themed. One is combat-themed. One is a scary, spooky house. Ooh. One is alien-themed. And I don't remember what the last one was, but it was pretty fun. I'd like to play it 2 players because I think it would get extra crazy. It's really chaotic and insane and super hard. It's a quarter munching game. And it's just this like mid-90s super obscure like pixel shooter. And it looks really, it's very charming, I would say. So if you like, want to try, it's for the Switch. That's why I played it on. And I think it's like $10. And if you like really unusual games and sort of, game preservation and, showing old obscure games and giving them a new life, I would check it out. And check out the rest of Johnny Turbo's Arcade. Also, I finished Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Vanessa.
You did?
I did.
Wow.
The ending was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine.
Yeah. It's not like, it didn't blow your mind. How did you feel about Ezri at the end there?
I like Ezri. I don't know if I liked her and Bashir, but there was an episode where Bashir, he's working with these other people who got like, genetically altered like he did. Spoiler alert. And, this one girl could not talk and he figured out a way to get her to talk and then like sleeps with her.
Oh. That
episode was very bad.
That's gotta violate the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, he was like banging her. And then at the end, she left the station because he was like forcing her to be romantic and she'd barely like experienced anything yet because she'd been in basically kind of a coma for the past 20 years.
Oh no.
It's a really weird episode.
Oh, Bashir.
I do not recommend that one. But there's some interesting stuff. It sort of ends Bashir's Section 31 plot very abruptly. And, yeah, I could have sworn I saw the original finale when it aired, but I thought the finale like tied into the beginning and was like the same thing about going back to the, aliens talking about causality, like the wormhole aliens, but that's not what happened at all.
I think you're thinking of the finale of Star Trek The Next Generation, which does loop back to the pilot episode.
Yeah, I just thought this one did too. And so I've started a new television show.
Oh, what is it?
It's called Star Trek Voyager. And it's not as bad as I remember, because I remember hating it.
Yeah, I'm a Voyager fan. It has its issues, of course, and it kind of loses its way mid-series, as many series do, but I like it, and I have always liked Janeway, and I always will.
Yeah, I think she's very strong. I like the whole Maquis Federation dynamic. I remember that kind of disappearing completely by the end of season 1. Like the whole Maquis crew being set against the Federation crew. I feel the show pulls its punches a lot when it comes to that. Like there's a lot more drama they could have got into, but they chose not to. I think shows like Star Trek Discovery really lean into what this show could have been.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because like Brian Fuller was a writer on Voyager.
Yeah.
And then became showrunner until he was fired from Discovery.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. He's fired from a lot of shows he showruns, like Dead Like Me.
What's with that, though? Because I loved Hannibal. That is one of my favorite series of all time.
I love Dead Like Me, but he was kicked off of that, I think, maybe after the first couple of episodes.
I mean,
but I think that is one of my favorite shows.
It seems pretty obvious.
I've also been watching American Horror Story Apocalypse. If you like Ryan Murphy wackiness, you'll love American Horror Story Apocalypse.
The only thing by Ryan Murphy I've really liked is that Feud show. That was pretty fun.
I didn't watch that.
I recommend it. Finally, I've been syncing, because I've been working like 12 hours a week. or a day, not 12 hours a week. I've been working 12 hours a day. I haven't had brain power to do anything when I get home. So I've been playing a lot of Gran Turismo and, Gran Turismo 6 to be specific. The last PS3 one.
Mm-hmm.
That game is fun.
Yeah.
But it's like a make your own fun kind of game where you have to like, I'm just like picking the weirdest cars that I really like instead of the game has 1,000 cars, but only 100 of them are like fully detailed with nice interiors.
Mm-hmm.
The rest are like the same models from Gran Turismo 3 and 4, basically.
Interesting.
And I think that's awesome and silly. Like you're playing these PS2 models. And I love that you can play the tracks that came on the first game, basically.
Now,
and
when do you get to play as Clint Eastwood yelling at some young Asian men about his lawn?
The Hamong? Never. That's Gran Torino.
Oh, no, Gran Torino is the hero in My Hero Academia. He's the guy that taught All Might how to be a hero. You got your stuff mixed up here, John.
You're probably right. I've only seen like 2 episodes of that.
Stupid names.
Uh-huh.
Jastar Rogue.
You mean Chaz?
Whatever.
Are you saying we should head over to the Frog Log?
We should head over to the Frog Log.
I was so happy when that popped up.
The Frog Log.
What do you think of Toady?
We'll get to it. I have some thoughts.
Really?
I do.
I like how he's just an item in your inventory. This game's got some real dumb menu systems.
Oh, I think this game's like iconic in its, I think like the nadir of JRPG annoying menu system stuff. Maybe. Although the Crystarium for Final Fantasy XIII is up there too. But the Revelation Flow is not my favorite.
I don't have a problem with the Revelation Flow. I have a problem with the fact that if I want to change out my fucking sword, I have to go into allies, and then I have to go into a particular character, and then I have to go to change equipment, and then I have to go into the fucking 6 steps deep just to like swap your sword out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, hey guys, what happened last time? We ran away from home, I think?
Yeah, Chaz was on his home desert planet.
Chester Rogue.
And he's a hunter. He's blonde and a boy and like maybe 17, 18, I'm going to guess. He throws out his blue milk and says goodbye to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Does he get
Simon
a haircut to fix that shitty hair of his? Here's a fun thing. In this game, your anime boy protagonist has anime boy protagonist spiky hair, but instead of looking like anime boy protagonist spiky hair, it just looks like a kid with a really shitty haircut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So that's Chaz. You also have Simon, he's the fat, short, Volus dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a mole man with bondage gear on.
With a Scottish accent.
Yes.
You've got Steve, who is C-3PO.
Steve.
You've got Kasala, who's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's her defining characteristic.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I was very impressed with how assertive she is in this episode. Although she really liked one thing.
I really liked how she is in the party you get to play with her for an hour, and then she immediately gets turned into a princess that you have to rescue from a giant frog monster.
But at least she does fight. She rescues a girl first. Mm-hmm. That's something. And finally, the most important character in the game, Mancha.
Jecht with an eye patch.
Oh, I was going to say Mancha.
Mancha is great.
Yeah, Mancha's the one who has like kind of a Cobra Commander voice.
Yeah, but he's a giant fat white cat, and he's like 3 feet tall, and he's delightful.
Yes, and then there is Jecht with an eye patch.
Yeah, that guy's great.
You learn a lot of unpleasant things about this episode.
You sure do.
Yeah.
I don't remember learning anything about him.
Well,
there's some things to
we'll
say.
talk about it.
There's thoughts.
I mean, let's just knock this out right now. Content warning, folks, we've got some pedophile talk and some racism talk.
Good times.
This game decides to step in all of it.
Yeah.
So we crash land on the planet
Jurukai.
Or I guess, did we talk about fighting the giant space manta rays last time?
Not really, because you hadn't done it yet. So let's go on it now.
So at the end of chapter 1, you go fly away on your big pirate ship, which is a spaceship somehow. And this is legit. It's got sails. It's got like a castle on it for some reason. It's a very strange pirate ship, but it's a space pirate ship.
It's a whale.
I would definitely call it a whale. So you're on your space whale and you're out on the deck of this space whale out in space. I don't know. And you get attacked by a bunch of beasts, as they call them, which I really like the fact that the monsters in this game are called beasts. It gives it kind of a Whovian twist to me.
Okay.
They're roast beasts. I'm going to roast that beast.
Oh, that kind of who.
No, not the Doctor Who kind of Who. I don't give a shit about that.
Okay.
Because she's a lady now? Is that why you don't give a shit about Doctor Who, Matt?
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Space manta rays. I feel like we encounter those a lot in this game. In all our games.
So some space manta rays. Now here's an interesting thing. They start like ramming into the ship, and there seems to be some sort of shield. So, okay, we're walking around on the deck of a wooden ship in space. It makes sense that there's some sort of barrier that's like, keeping air. But these things ram into it and break it, and then you continue to just kind of hang out on the deck of the ship, just breathe in the air.
It could be like in Star Trek when like there's a hole in the bulkhead, but it's like there's an invisible field protecting you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's already there. And that's what they break.
Well, maybe there's the hard part and then the air protecting part. But how do you have gravity? I don't know.
So anyway, you have to fight a bunch of space manta rays, and I don't know, there's not a lot to it, right, guys?
Nope. But they do enough damage to the ship that it crashes into this jungle planet, Jurukai.
Mm-hmm.
And your ship is repairable. This is what Simon tells you. But it will need booster oil. Except you're on a jungle planet with no high-tech civilizations. So, unfortunately, they're SOL. But then Zegram's like, you guys are pirates. Don't act like you're defeated. The fire fruit on this planet will work just fine as booster oil. You just have to go get some.
Nonsense. Fruit is not a gasoline.
Well, they say that it's highly flammable and that the fruit is harvested. This is where things stop making sense, because they've made a lot of sense so far.
And start getting real.
Mm-hmm. The fruit is harvested and turned into booster oil. So where's the harvesting operation? Like, why is this a jungle planet that's all like,
I don't think that's fair, because Earth is a planet and it has lots of harvesting operations. But if your spaceship crashed into the Sahara, you wouldn't be like, so where's the oil mine? It's miles away.
Well, but I think there aren't actually facilities on this planet to do that, or people just come down and take it and then process it elsewhere.
Have you been everywhere on this planet, John? No, we've been 2 square miles on this planet.
Well, Malika seems to talk like there's no high-tech areas to this planet.
She's been 2 square miles on this planet as well.
How do you know that?
Yeah, you know what? You're just jumping to conclusions, Vanessa. From what is presented in the game, there is no high-tech anything on this planet. Mm-hmm. So I guess that even though this fuel is necessary to drive your spaceship around, people come down and just pluck the fruit like it's a fucking orchard?
Yep. But I guess normally there's lots of fruit everywhere, except that it's all gone. And so you and Kasala and Zegrum are like, okay, I guess we have to go talk to the villagers to see if we can get some fruit.
Trying to play along at home, Kasala is girl character and Zegrum is Jecht with Eyepatch.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt, because I do not know their actual names.
So the first thing that happens when you go out is you're exploring in the jungle, and so you see some shadows of villagers, and they throw spears all around your party, as if to say hello. The spear means hello.
I like how Jecht at this point is like, oh, one, like, pierced from that, and we could be done for. And the other ones are like, really? It's like, yeah, it's a spear.
Well, I think they're coated in poison, too.
No. Oh, I see.
I think that's what he was getting at. And so they don't seem super friendly. Now let's talk about these villagers, because you just see them walking around as you try to get to the village. They're just hanging out. And the path to the village is blocked by this big Olmec style head. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a very Central American, ancient civilization look to it. Mm-hmm. The villagers are a combination of African tribal masks. Mm-hmm. And indigenous North Americans with the feathers and with like some of the gear, and some Central Asian, I would say South Asian culture, kind of hodgepodge together.
They remind me of the characters in Monkey Island 3 who are like vegetarian cannibals of some sort, and they have big like tofu masks and pineapple masks, and they're meant to look ridiculously cliched and just generically tribal.
Right. Now, on it, like, there is certainly could be, I mean, in the fiction of this, maybe they're humans who wanted to get away from civilization, or maybe it's another
humans?
Yeah, they're humans.
Why do you say that?
Because they don't have anything other than Dario and what's his name, Filio and Shirio look vaguely non-human, but all the other characters look. I mean, if they're not human, they look identical to humans. There's no alien trait to them.
Yeah, and the strange-looking ones claim to be human. One of them specifically says that he needs human contact.
Right. And so you get to Filio, who I think is voiced by John DiMaggio. It sounds like John DiMaggio. Oh, no, actually, no, it was not. Never mind. But he has that kind of gruff John DiMaggio style voice. And Filio is a awkward ethnic caricature. He looks a bit like dolls and stuff that were made in the visage or made inspired by African people in the 19th century. It's not great. And that's all I really feel like I should say about this. Because I don't feel it's my place to go on about the ethnic representation.
Awkward, yo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's some fucking straight racist bullshit, and there's no way around it.
Yeah. It's not great. Like, yeah. Look at it for yourself. Go look up Filio Rogue Age. I won't get this name right. Rogue Galaxy. And yeah. So this guy, Filio, is an inventor who was kicked out of his village because technology is forbidden.
Yeah, there's a lot of those apparently.
Yeah, and they all three of them are, I don't know if they're brothers or what.
It never says that. Like, it doesn't, they don't connect. You don't see all three of them together ever. They don't really even talk about each other as far as I recall.
He also skeezes on the girls in a way that Vanessa keeps bringing up.
Yeah.
What does he say?
The first guy.
Yeah, Filio.
He doesn't say, well, he says that he wants, like, human contact and follows her very closely.
Right.
And his eye level is about her bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The second guy, Dario, says something along the lines of, Yeah, I'm a woman. Smell good, woman.
Yeah. I like, so you need to see each of these brothers each of these inventors to get past, a obstacle in your way to getting to the village. Filio gives you gloves that help you move a heavy statue. Dario gives you bombs. I like that his house is covered in bomb craters all around it. It was pretty fun.
He also almost kills himself, which is pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I did like that.
The last time you see him, he's like, I have to go do something about all these wounds.
Yeah, I legit laughed at that line.
I mean, they could be delightful characters if they weren't such grotesque, racist stereotypes.
There's a doll my mom grew up with and she didn't realize they were supposed to be representing humans. For real, when she realized they were supposed to be humans, she was horrified. They're called gollywogs.
Yes.
And that is what these characters remind me of.
Absolutely what they look like, or something out of a minstrel show.
Yes.
It's 2008. I don't want to see that.
It's 2000. Great, Vanessa.
Oh,
not this, though.
No.
I mean, it's not.
Neither of those, John. It's neither of this. It's 2000. Oh, God. So, the first one gives you some gloves, and the second one gives you some bombs.
Did you meet any mimics as you were opening up treasure chests?
Yes, and it killed me, and so I never opened one again.
Yeah.
Aww.
Well, I mean, that's crazy. There's a lot of necessary stuff in those treasure chests.
And those things do give you a lot of XP.
You can tell which one is a mimic and which one is not. So I opened the ones that were not. The lock is a little bit different. The mimics have like a brown spot on them.
Oh, snap. I'll have to keep an eye out for that because those things really kicked the shit out of me and it was incredibly frustrating.
I would stun them with his Chaz's stun lock move there, his first revelation power. You know, the one that makes your sword all zappy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I use that, and that basically, once I got them stunned, I could make sure everyone had their fire sword and their dagger / activated. That was pretty good. So I killed those things, but yeah, they are I got killed by them the first time because they are really hard. You have to stay on top of them to not get party wiped. And, then you go to the village and the villagers are like, hey, we're not letting you in. We don't like outsiders. So you're like, oh, maybe I should take a long way around. You go to spring and.
Well, yeah, they tell you also don't fucking go near the spring today, bro. There's a spring. It's in this direction. Don't go there. And you're like, well, I think I'll go to the spring.
Oh, on the way to the spring, I met a kid named Fable, and he has some bug traps that we will talk about in a certain corner later on.
Oh, goddamn this stupid bug thing. So anyway, you get to the spring, and there is a young child and a goddess of some kind?
That would be Lilika and Miri. And you sit down and you're just having a party chat on the beach and you're watching these two. And here's where Zegrum says, so which one of these two is more your type there, Chaz?
Okay, but Chaz is 10 years old.
Chaz is 17.
Yeah, and Chaz is speechless and stuttering. I assume because he too is in shock that Zegrum is implying that between the grown woman in a bikini and the child who appears to be about 8 years old, you would question which one was an adult's type.
Maybe he was, baiting him and trying to find out if he's actually a perv.
You think he's to catch a predator-ing him?
Yeah, exactly. So I notice things here are looking a little sleazy, Chaz.
I mean, I can see that take on it, and I wouldn't argue with you about it.
But that's definitely
the way I got it. What I took from that scene was an old man looking at a young child and saying, "Which one of these do you prefer? The one that's your age, or the fucking statuesque Amazonian goddess? What's your deal, guy?"
Well, I think, but Chaz is the age of the goddess woman. I think.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. The girl.
He still lives at home at the beginning of this game. Like, he's probably under 18. He does still live with his adopted family.
And Miri later on, the younger one is revealed to be about 15 or so. Though they never say, but she's certainly marrying age. Which doesn't mean much, but
who knows what that means?
Yeah. So, they hear us talking about them, and Lilica runs to attack us. Except, as we explain, we are not any kind of predator, so to speak. Miri is suddenly attacked by tentacles. And,
nope.
Yes,
you're right.
Kisala leaps to save her, which I was like, hey, she's proactive and cool. But then immediately
Rogue is 18 years old.
Oh, okay. So, the Kisala runs to save the girl, but then is attacked by this frog thing with lots of tentacles.
I mean, it is just a frog with tentacles. It's probably the least creative monster I've ever seen in my entire life. Somebody was just like, take a frog and put tentacles on it.
And it's about to eat Kisala, so you gotta save her. And this boss killed me in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, with this electro zap, it got me too.
It's really fucking stupid.
Well, if you stay out of the water, it's not so bad, except your party members will not stay out of the water, no matter what you do. So that's not great. But, he's got this, he electrifies the water, basically.
Have we talked about the combat system in this game?
Not a ton.
It is real-time combat.
Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
John, I think, referred to it as very similar to Kingdom Hearts, which I don't disagree with.
Yeah. And with this boss, I mean, there's strategy to it. Like, you have to move away from water, and he does, the froggy waves his tentacles before putting him in the water. So you can, like, stand back. If you stay far back and just shoot him and watch where the tentacles are and try to stay on land, it's not a hard boss fight. You just have to keep resuscitating your party members, as they will die over and over again.
I used Chaz's illusion sword, which is a special ability that gives him, like, lasers that shoot from his sword.
How did you get that?
I unlocked it on the rarity triumph.
I didn't have any of the things you need to unlock it.
Yeah, I also did not have it at this point.
How can y'all be like, I don't have it, when I'm the one who didn't even open the mimic chest? And you're like,
I don't
there's
know.
important stuff in the mimic chest.
I don't know, but I want to unlock that. That looks like a really, apparently, like, all the guides say, get that one. That's the most important ability in the game.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got that. I just didn't have it at this point.
Maybe it's random drops.
Maybe it is.
Because you do get a lot of those items from random drops. I did do a lot of fighting.
The Revelation board, I don't think we explained it very well last time either, so we better. The Revelation board is very similar to the Sphere grid from Final Fantasy X, where you unlock...
stupider.
Yeah. You unlock,
fine.
Your level up. It's your level up. I mean, you level up as well, but you unlock your abilities and stuff. But you have to use items that you find in the world. And a lot of them are just like, I mean, legitimately like potions and fucking... like consumables that you do use. And then there's also just a ton of random bullshit that you have to find.
Yeah, there's like a star-shaped pendant to unlock the illusion thing. So I've been on the lookout for it. I've been trying to buy that star-shaped pendant so I can get my illusion sword.
I'm pretty sure I got it from a chest.
Dang it. And I also didn't get, there's an earth key you can get at the chief's house right after this.
Yeah, I got that too.
I didn't get that, so I need to go back to this planet as soon as you can. I know you can travel back to old planets in this game, so at least you can do that. I'm bad at this game. Very bad, Vanessa.
I'm bad at this game. I die all the time with the stupid real-time combat. I don't feel like mashing a button.
Me neither. Especially when it's like, oh, you mashed too many buttons.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit like Parasite Eve. Yeah.
I find that I've done better once I just start using the gun. Like,
Right.
Right away. So as soon as the enemies pop up, I just blind fire into the air, and then I'll whack them with my sword a couple times.
So Lilika is real happy that you saved her sister. She is like a cool warrior lady. She's wearing a striped beanie, and she's got a bow and a machete. And the camera loves her breasts, basically, and her butt. The camera is always on her breasts and always on her butt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she definitely is stacked, and the clothes, the pants she's wearing, the bikini she is wearing, is basically a thong, and it's just her butt hanging out. It's real weird. It's
a bit like Fran from Final Fantasy XII.
Yes. Yeah.
And very similar to, what's her name, Morna from Grandia?
Yeah, and who's that cat caveman lady in Chrono Trigger?
Isla?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I guess it's like an RPG trope is the woman from a low technology culture. So you, as you leave the spring, there, Lilika's like, hey, I know you need some help, so you can go to the village. I'll tell people to let you in. Just be careful. They don't like strangers. And also, remember that time my sister got attacked by a weird monster, and it ate my mom and made her blind.
What?
Yeah. She got made blind, and this creature ate her mom.
That's super weird.
Is it weird?
You get to the village and find out that Miri is being sacrificed to the Star God.
It's a great name, though. Good job, writers. The Star God.
Yep. Well, what? Star Lord is such a great name?
It's not.
No.
That's why they make fun of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miri seems pretty cool with it.
She doesn't like the idea that much. And Miri's
She's accepted it.
Fiance? Who's a grown man?
I think so. Is he?
Fran?
You were jumping to a lot of fucking conclusions.
He looks older than she does. But maybe she just looks really young. Yeah.
But, he's just kind of yelling about how she shouldn't have to do it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he also keeps saying that it's not going to actually fix anything, which, he's right.
Well, yeah, when you get to the village, there's like a villager who dies and has these like pustules on his back. And they're saying it's the dark fruit that has been making everyone sick. And to get rid of the dark fruit, they need to sacrifice a human to the Star God. It's a real Star Trek episode, like original series Star Trek episode kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course your party's having none of that. And in fact, seems to kind of forget what we're on this planet for as they decide to trump off and stop this human sacrifice.
Yeah, you talk to you like sneak into this, village's like central leader discussion, and they're like, what are you doing here? This has nothing to do with you. And you're like, we're the intrepid explorers and we're going to fix your problems.
Yeah. Well, it's also weird that as far as I recall, I don't think our party ever mentions to anybody in the, village that we are looking for star fruit or whatever it's called, dragon fruit to turn into fuel. Like, we just stick our nose in their business and proceed to fuck that all up, as opposed to being like, hey, but also, like, could we get some fruit?
Well, they're having fruit problems because of this dark fruit, I guess. So,
they occur to these characters that maybe the dark fruit and the fruit they're looking for maybe is somewhere there.
Maybe. I don't know. But, you wake up in the middle of the night, I guess, and you talk to Lilika, and she will not save her sister because she's like, I volunteered her. It's my fault. We're going through with this.
It's very important to note that Lilika is seemingly perfectly willing to sacrifice her baby sister and is, a monster, basically.
It's true. I think everyone in this planet's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Since she is going to be joining your party, obviously.
Yes.
But Lilika can't sacrifice herself because she's the head of the warriors or whatever.
That's cool. So you follow them as they bring Miri to the Star God's altar. How they get there, no one knows, because you can't get there the way they got there.
Yeah, it's weird. We have to go find a fucking Mr. Freeze ice gun, freeze a waterfall, and then use our platform gun to make a platform up the waterfall, which, by the way, why did we have to freeze the water to do that? Couldn't we have just done it on the mountainside?
Question.
None of this makes any fucking sense.
Maybe they would have flowed down with the water or something. You do get to meet Sherio, who is another of those inventor-looking dudes. Mm-hmm. And so the way you find this ice gun is that it's right near this crashed ship. And there's some other treasures there. And you find this ice gun that can freeze lakes, basically. Bring it to the inventor guy who wants presents, and he fixes it for you and gives it back. And it's like, well, just remember, use technology to help, not to hurt. And Chaz is like, oh yeah, I should test if this works, and then points it at Sherio and freezes him for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sherio's got a real guns don't kill people, people kill people thing going on.
And Chaz proves him right by killing him to death with his ice gun.
I think it implies he survived, I hope. But yeah, Chaz is a real psychopath. And so you get up this waterfall after solving the puzzle of what to use, which is the two guns. When you get up there, Zegram's like, I'm outies. And Kasala asks where Zegram is. And you get a little cutscene of him on the phone. He's talking to someone. And he's saying that the Doganark crew are full of idiots. And they're morons, and he's tricking them.
No.
So he's a bad guy.
Do you think he's gonna be like a bad guy, though, and this isn't gonna just turn out to be a misunderstanding, or he's gonna have a change of heart? Like, he's got a whole revelation flow thing.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't think we're gonna lose him.
Right now, they're setting him up as a bad guy.
Yeah, except while you run off to do your whole dumb bullshit, he actually goes and gets the fruits that you need and makes the fuel.
That's true. He does.
You never set fucking eyes on a piece of this fruit.
But you do get to the altar of the Star God where Miri's about to be sacrificed and are like, hey, Lilica, you could like stop this if you want. And she's like, no, you can't. And then the Star God shows up and it's like a big starfish with a messed up Frankenstein head.
Mm-hmm. It's a god.
And it's real gross, and you have to attack it.
And it turns out that it's the same monster that blinded Miri and killed their mother. It is real fucking weird. She has this moment of like, it's the same. And it's like, yeah, no shit. I saw it in a flashback one time, and when I saw it again, I was like, that's the same monster.
Did you figure out using the ice gun pretty fast?
No, I died.
Oh, I figured it out because it's like this boss is too soft to hurt. I'm like, ooh, maybe I can make it hard.
Yeah, you can.
Some sexy strip. No, with a ice gun. Yeah. So I did that, and that's how it's like a kind of a Zelda boss kind of encounter.
I mean, yeah. So was the first one on the big boss on the last planet. Except for that one, you had to use the platforms.
Right. So I don't mind that. I like me some Zelda bosses,
I agree.
Even if I'm bad at that game.
You know what's ironic?
Like a
rain on your wedding day.
An old man
10,000 spoons
98,
when all you need is a knife.
Won the lottery and died the next day.
I'm too soft not to be hurt.
Oh, is it like a black fly in your Chardonnay? Or a death row pardon? 2 minutes too late.
Oh, that is ironic.
Don't you think? A little too ironic.
We're not doing
and
this.
Yeah, I really do.
So, yep. So you fight the starfish monster by freezing it and then giving it the old smackaroo. And you start off as just you and girl. I literally don't know her name, but
this girl is fine.
Chaz and girl, and then Lilica gets to join the battle about halfway through. And she has no abilities and doesn't seem to be good for much. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, everything's okay. And everything's up in your face.
And that's it. You save the girl, and then you go back, and Lilica gets banished from the village.
There's some stuff I like here. I like that Zegram's like, oh, while you guys were doing this nonsense, I got my fruit. And yeah, she's kicked out of the village because of course she is. And
is there
they
a
know
mute
that
button for Vanessa? I'm looking and I can't
they
find it.
They know that the Star God wasn't real, but they're like, our people need the Star God. But do they? Do they,
no.
Matthew?
Yeah. What the fuck is that about? They're like, they need
basically
to believe. What are you talking about?
The Star God was pooping out those dark fruits, and that's what was making people ill. So
well, you got the impression that, like, something had fucked the Star God up to make it like this, but I don't believe that you solve that at all. You just kill it.
No. Oh, and also, do you remember Toady? Maybe we come back here because Toady mentioned something weird about goop that dropped on the planet. That's what made the frog. That's what made the frog angry, and that's what created Toady. And we kind of brushed over Toady.
Let's not brush over Toady because I have a lot to say about Toady.
Well, yeah. Okay, first of all, he's got a perfect little hair that I want to brush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like an ice cream loop.
And he's got like a heart on his chest.
Yeah. Toady probably could come up to like mid-calf on a normal person. Toady purple. Toady a frog with a blonde swath of hair in the middle of his head.
Is Toady a frog?
Toady says he's a frog.
Toad. Toadie's
or is he a toad?
Toady likes to put one thing in his mouth and then put another thing in his mouth at the same time.
Yeah, he does that kinky little sausage.
Whoosh, and then spit both out as one new combined thing.
He's real excited about this because he asks to join you. He wants you to take him with you because you have killed his friends. And and well, he convinces you
he's just evolved into sentience. And
unlike the other creatures, when he got touched by the goop, he just turned into like a Ninja Turtle, whereas the rest of them...
That's exactly what happened to the Ninja Turtles. Oh my god!
Exactly.
So, I played around with this a lot. Because once you max out a weapon, it becomes eligible for toad eating, and it will spit out a newer, better weapon.
So I made a new gun.
I made lots of new stuff.
What does maxing out a weapon do?
I think it increases its stats, and you also, when you fight, it like increases its like, what do you call that? Affinity, elemental affinity.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll notice all these bars go up. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to explain any of this, and there's certainly nowhere in the game that it explains it because, well, no, I don't know that that's true because the menu system is so bonkers that it's impossible to find out.
There is that thing that gives you all the information, like from those old tutorials. I found those tutorials hard to read, so who knows? Maybe. But I made a lot of cool items, so I really like this mechanic. I think this kind of relates to Dark Cloud. Did you ever play that game?
No.
It was by the same team, and it had a lot of weird item combining mechanics.
Yeah, we've talked about doing it for the show.
Yeah, why not? And, so that's Toady. He's pretty fun. I liked him, like, humping Zegram's leg at the end of that cutscene.
He wasn't humping it, he, like, bit him and was just, like, hanging on by his mouth.
This game genuinely makes me laugh quite a lot. And, like, just in the anime absurdity stuff that happens, like the really silly cartoony stuff. I quite like that.
Oh yeah, there's no explanation for that. He just latches onto Zegram's knee with his mouth and is just like, all right, let's go. It's really funny to me though that, as I mentioned earlier, Toady joins your team. He does not get his own little, area in the menu or anything like that. He is an item in your inventory. And if you want to combine stuff, you have to go find him in your inventory and use him like a tool. And then it opens up this little sub-menu.
What's weird is there's he has a slot on the main menu called the frog log.
Yeah.
But that's just a list of stuff you've already combined. So it should be
thing.
Yeah, I think whoever designed the menus didn't really know what they were doing in this game because
it is
awful.
wild.
It is. Wait till I'm curious what you'll think of the Final Fantasy 13 Crystarium because I think that might be the worst of anything I've played in terms of menu garbage.
I don't remember it, but anyway. But that's about midway through this level, and we kind of skipped him, so we went back. But that's it. You get on your spaceship and you leave with
you get a cutscene,
Lilica in 2.
An amazing cutscene where it cuts to.
Is it amazing?
It looks like the planet Coruscant.
Well, we didn't say what the hell we're doing though. So you get on your ship and you leave Guanirka or whatever it's called, and
Jurukai.
Guanirka, and you go to what's the name of the new planet that you head to?
Zerard.
And this is, I think, the main, like the capital planet of the government.
It's the Coruscant.
Yeah. What is the government? Is this like an empire or what's the deal?
Well, there's 2 empires. There's the Long Guardians and there's the
Leviosa?
Drexel's class.
1, 2, empire stands before you. That's what I said now. Emperors, empire to adore you.
That's what I said now.
So you get this cutscene of Coruscant, and it's one of those goofy, futuristic sci-fi things where there's a million flying cars, but they're all just flying in a row together.
So this cutscene is this lady who is like, I guess evil? I'm guessing because she seems to be laughing about things.
Oh, laugh about things.
You talking about bullseye tits?
Yeah, she's got
bullseyes,
humongous breasts.
I got humongous breasts
with targets painted on them.
No, I don't have that.
And glasses. I don't think you wear glasses.
No, I don't wear glasses. Okay, so those are the 2 differences.
So there are some differences between you and her name is Norma.
My name is
the
Norma.
sexiest name.
I'm Vanessa.
If we're gonna make fun of character designs, there's one thing about Lilica that I forgot to mention that's very important. And that is that she is wearing a bikini, and it is like a tiger stripe bikini. She's got some feathers on one shoulder. It's that type of thing. And she's got purple hair with some nice bangs, and she is definitely wearing a beanie.
It's kind of the beanie that people wear when they really get into Bob Marley.
It kind of is. It's got a little opening at the top, so it's not a true beanie, because the opening at the top has like feathers sticking out, so it's just more kind of like a head sock, but it looks knit, like a knit beanie. It is the weirdest goddamn thing. Like from the head up, she looks kind of like I don't know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not like goth, but like an anti-establishment, like, I don't know, like,
countercultural punk?
Yeah, exactly. Not even punk, but just like the type of person who lives in a coffee shop. But, from the neck down, she's Wonder Woman. It's so fucking weird. Why does this woman have a beanie on? Is it cold on your head? If it's cold on your head, why isn't it cold on your tits? Because they're just fucking hanging out.
Well, they've got warm fur on them.
What?
She's got like a fur bikini.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying something else.
No. My tits have warm fur on them.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, me too. So, anyway, John, I'm sorry I interrupted you. You were talking about this crazy woman with the bullseye boobs.
So she's talking about, I don't know who she is or who she's talking to. She's talking to like the bad guy from Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Sitting in his chair.
All you can see is he's got like purple hands. So he's some sort of alien.
He's got weird spiky hair.
And they're talking about tablets. And they're
one
like, one
people,
tablet says man, and one tablet says gate. So if we combine them, we'll get the gate to Eden. And what are you talking about?
I think this is like a Mankar Cameron situation all over again.
Well, but Bullseye Tits also is like, hey, She's like, hey, once we combine these tablets, you can rule the galaxy. And he's like, nah, I don't want to do that. So I don't know what the fuck this is about.
Well, I think he was being like, who am I to be Galactic Emperor? I mean, I'm just the head of a corporation or something.
Yeah, that's what he says. I'm just the head of a corporation or something. I don't actually know yet.
Yeah, this is, so I guess these are the villains. Or the good, maybe these are the good guys.
Yeah, totally.
Trying to be, yeah.
So
yeah,
you land on the planet.
Joins your party.
And, before you can, do you want to talk about, I mean, let's save this setup for next time.
Yeah, we'll save the next planet for next time.
Yeah. And that's the end of chapter 3.
Next time,
chapters 4 and 5.
4 and 5. Now, this game's supposed to be like 40 hours long, and I'm 4 hours in, and I've done 4 chapters out of 12. I guess they get longer.
Like this bit.
Oh! And before we go,
Bullseye Dick?
Why don't we talk about John's bullshit minigame corner? I've got a couple of them.
This is so exciting. It's been so long since we've had a bullshit minigame.
Bug collecting might be the biggest bullshit minigame we've had in a while.
Super bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
And I do not want to do it.
I have a bee. He's called a hook bee, and I named him Buzz Buzz.
I got a stag beetle, and it's got like big pincers. And it was already named something good, and I was like, oh, that name's fine. I think it was like Bitey or Stingy.
Really?
Or something.
My bee's name was Havana. And I changed it because I was like, that is a terrible name for a bee.
They're kind of Tamagotchi-like, I guess. You're supposed to feed them and help them grow, and then like help them have sex if there's two of the same, like male and female of the same species. But you gotta like put down this trap and put some food they like in it. And I found they really like that Lon milk you can get on the planet. So I've been putting that milk down, and they really like that. So I got 2 bugs so far. I got a stag beetle and a bee. And they're called Insectors. That was like, do you remember Insectors when we were a kid?
80s, yes.
Yeah, like they rode these cool bugs.
Oh, wait, yeah, those were Insectors. Yeah. And they rode bugs, and they had bug eyes. I feel like there's probably like 6 episodes of a cartoon that never really got off the ground.
I feel like Insectors and Centurions and the ones that were rocks that transformed all came out around the same time.
Did you talk about where we got this bug stuff from?
We got it from a boy. His name is Fable, like the game we played.
He's a off-worlder, clearly, based on his dress.
He's a real Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, he doesn't have a parent with him.
In the capital city, there are Insector battles, and they call it something else too, like Insectron.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this and that Tron in this. Have you noticed that? The ship that we found was developed by Daytron. And
and Daytron I think is, because the building, the headquarters is right there in Coruscant. I would call my phone Speakotron, because like when you used to get cell phones, it's like, give your cell phone a name. So I was like, okay, Speakotron.
What do you call Porky?
Porky.
No.
She's not a Tron.
Allergy-tron.
Yeah, she does give me sneezies sometimes.
So, John, are you going to continue playing the bug game?
Yeah.
Since you can regale us with tales from John's bug corner?
I will. Except like the first 3 times I put down a trap, the bug ran away. And it seems really annoying. I don't know how many bugs I guess right now I can only have a maximum of 5. Because that's how many slots are in this terrarium that the kid, basically this kid gives you a terrarium because he's like, this one's old. I've got a new one. I'm like the best Insectron master. You can't compete with me, but you should try and come meet up with me for the tournament. And so I guess that's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes.
I guess it's like a Pokemon fighting, like you fight them against each other.
Yeah.
They look really cute.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Somebody in the Square Roots Facebook group, that is the Square Roots group for smart, cool, very attractive people, posted about it and asked if it was necessary. And I believe somebody else responded and said it is not. So,
that's good.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a feature I would have loved when I was 15, but I am a grown-ass man. I don't have time to do this.
Yeah.
But I will try my best in the time that we have.
So,
which is also the name of my upcoming love song duet with one Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
John and Vanessa will try our best with the time we have coming up on the Hot 100. Mm-hmm. We'll try the best with the time we have.
Oh, look, Vanessa's here.
Be glad for the time we have.
We'll raise bugs and help them fight.
We'll take off like bugs in flight.
That's beautiful. What a beautiful song.
So, what's next?
Squarely against. Oh, wait. Actually, no. Before that, would you call the item eating a mini game or not?
No, I think that's just a mechanic.
It's a crafting system.
Yeah.
Sure.
John's
then that's it for my
crafting system corner.
Mini game corner. Let's move on to Squarely Against.
Yeah.
Matthew, what are you squarely against?
The level design in this game is trash. It's just straight lines. It is just straight lines with the occasional turn.
I do like how big the level, like the jungle planet is pretty big.
It is very large. But that's not enough. It needs to be more than large. It is just straight lines. And you get to go everywhere. You can do some exploration. There are treasure chests hidden around, which is nice. But I didn't run across any, special areas. It was just you were going there anyway. You just had to pay attention to find the extra treasure chests. But, I do enjoy doing that, so. What about you, Vanessa? What are you squarely against?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the racist caricatures.
Yeah, I figured.
John, what are you squarely against?
I am roundly for the puzzle bosses. I like that. I like games where you have to use your thinking cap to defeat a boss.
I like it too, but I really wanted to jump on that frog.
Yeah, the fact you couldn't jump on the frog kind of stinks.
I meant to ask, did you guys get bonus battle points or whatever? Did you record the frog fight? Is that possible?
I've used the recorder for the random challenge fights you get, where it's kill enemies without using an ability or without getting hurt or in 25 seconds.
I think it's always recording, isn't it?
Okay.
That I thought so.
I thought it was weird that if you fought this giant monster, why didn't that was such a big thing at the end of the last level was go make sure you record these fights, and then you get in a big fight and it's all right, don't worry about it.
I don't know.
Weird.
That's a good question. Listeners, write in. Help us get more points.
Well, speaking of listeners writing in.
podcast@gmail.com.
Speaking of listeners writing in.
Ryan Miller writes, I'm nearing the end of the Secret of Mana podcast, and the show just seems to be falling apart.
Oh.
Clearly, some of you care significantly less than others about the podcast at this point.
What?
Was this due to not feeling excited about playing Secret of Mana, or more feeling burnt out and needing a break from the podcast in general?
Feeling burnt out of letters like this.
Well,
wow.
Hey, this letter pissed me off.
Yeah, we're always open to critique, and I am...
No, hang on. I never agreed to that.
So Secret of Mana was the first episode, or series, that I recorded with you guys. And, by the end of that, I was definitely burnt out on the podcast and needed a break. Hey-o!
Oh!
Sick burn!
I think Secret of Mana is a game that half the podcast did not like very much. Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
When we don't all think the same thing about a game.
I think so, too. And I think that any game is when you're playing at home for fun and pleasure, you might put your game down for a while, for a couple months, like take a break and then come back to it or something if you aren't that into it. The one thing that we do need to do for the show is just like keep going with it. Even if it's not something that we would organically play all the way through.
Unless that game is called Grandia.
Time frame that we have.
I don't think it was a matter of being burnt out. I think it's that some people really didn't like the game, which is understandable. I think Secret of Mana is a very divisive game and the least popular series we did.
Oh.
I think that Secret of Mana falls to fucking pieces at the end. It starts off really strong, and then they clearly kind of stopped making a good game, and like, what are you going to do?
I did not have a good microphone for that recording.
No.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think that we didn't like that game, wait until you get to the Bard's Tale.
I love the Bard's Tale. I look back on the Bard's Tale as one of my favorite games that we played. Not because the game itself was good, but because it made for fun show.
Yeah, I think sometimes the show is better when some of us or all of us do not like the game. So
it also helps when it's like wretchedly bad.
I hope we do appreciate your comments, and we will try to make the bestest show we can make.
Don't speak for me. I do not appreciate your comments.
Liking the game if we don't like it. We will be honest. Unless we are paid not to be, in which case, give us money.
I do not accept your criticism, listeners. Do not criticize me.
My, what would you call that? Integrity costs $10,000 per game.
Yeah, I have no ethics in my game journalism, so please start sending me money. I mean, I'm a woman sitting here in the world, and from what I understand, I should be being paid.
Getting paid! Finally, let's do a listener level up. Are you ready? Because Bobby Midkiff II has leveled up.
Yeah, I think Facebook group user and patron, I believe.
Bobby, you have gained +5 to Kevin Owens' impersonation. You have learned the ability dress up in coveralls and a burlap sack mask, which comes with the negative trait of being tricked by people who are wearing your mom's old comfy sweaters.
Oh, look, Bobby Midkiff just posted in the Square Roots group.
You now know the definition of perspicacity.
That's one of my favorite words.
It is a great word. And that's Bobby's level up.
Yay!
Speaking of Patreon, we have a Patreon. If you like this podcast and want to support it, you can do a lot of things. You could tell your friends about the podcast, which really does help and is the only way the show can grow. But also, if you want to help us pay for like a laptop that Matthew's getting or like Vanessa's Vita, you can give us money on the Patreon. And there's 3 levels. The $3 level gives you access to the Instant Classic and Versus podcast, which is monthly. The $5 level gives you access to that and the Level Up podcast, which is bi-weekly. And finally, the $8 premium diamond tier gives you access to vote on games we are going to play in the future.
Like this one.
Yeah, this was a voted on game. I think I did the patrons list last time. So Vanessa, do you feel like it? Or is your voice all dead?
I'll try. I'm dying a little bit here. Benzina Benzoni, Cameron Show, Artie Pavlov, Aaron Gabe, Jonathan Ellsworth, Julia Zanzelli, Justin Benoit, Miguel Torres, Nick, Rusty Commander, Tom, Wonder Swan, Aaron Bachman, Andrew Wyatt, Ashley D, formerly known as Ashley W. Breger, Brian Pep, Brian Stone, Brody Toy, Cowman Monster, David Green,
Kiva.
David Pascal, Go Cry Wolf, Jake Dickerson, James Halstetter, Josh Anderson, Justin Ham, Megan Sullivan, Meredith Anderson, Mom Delamari, Nathan Poirot, Patrick Cooper, Patrick W. Bears, Randy Pierce, Robert M. Poland, Robert T. Ross Hartley, Simon Mitchell, Tracy Tanoff, Tyler Betty, Ward Childress, David Schutt, G. Bailey, Gregory James Fletch, Jonathan Lee, Joseph N. Rogers, Julian Titus, Matt Jorgensen, Mechacon, Race Jenkins, Skinskill, Xavier Creo, Viago Demento, Devin Salone, Dylan Rice, Sam Harrison, my mom, Cyril the Woo.
Arr! Send us an email. You know our email address. It's squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. If you absolutely cannot be bothered to send an email, please come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people, and tweet at us at Square Roots Pod. Our theme music is Ferdk's cover of the battle theme from Rogue Galaxy. Check out Ferdk on YouTube and links in the show notes for his various other linky stuff. I'll write this down better next time. Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you screenshot review and post in the Facebook group or Twitter, I'll tell you how you leveled up, just like I did with Bobby.
Just like that.
For Square Roots, I'm John Brandon.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
And I'm Vanessa. Licious Ferdk. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Alicious Death. Bye, Alicious Death. Bye, Alicious Death. Bye, Alicious Definition. Make the boys go crazy.